Hi, my name is Helen, and today I'd like to share a secretive strategy that's used in advertising. This being the formulation of something called whisper copy. Whisper copy is a magical promise of satisfaction that fuels our dreams of what our lives might, could, or should be, if only we had this or that, or looked this way, or like that. Why then, we might cure our frustration at the gulf between what we are and what we think our potential is. In short, advertisers design whisper copy to tap into our fears around some lack, which in turn creates the motivational drive to buy a product. Humans have always wished for wealth, to increase well-being, to become more effective and accomplished in some way, and then to remain healthy, cool, edgy, chic, attractive and sexy. Historically, this was the preserve of the well-connected, the powerful elite or aristocracy. But it was Edward L. Bernays, 1891 to 1995, an Austrian-American pioneer in the field of public relations, who first used psychology to design persuasive ad campaigns to fire the aspirations of everyone. His uncle was Sigmund Freud, who described the masses as irrational and subject to herd instinct, and it was Freud who devised the means to control the masses in desirable ways. To paraphrase Bernays, if we understand the mechanism and motives of the group mind, it is possible, at least up to a certain point and within certain limits, to control and regiment the masses according to our will without their knowing about it. To illustrate how powerful and unprincipled Bernays' methods were and still are today, here are some examples of his hugely successful ad or propaganda campaigns. Now, I expect people in America and Britain are under the impression that bacon and eggs have been a staple breakfast since forever. But it was Bernays who introduced America to the idea of having this as a healthy breakfast in order to promote the sales of bacon. He was also consulted by Betty Crocker Foods, who produced an instant cake mix invented in the 1930s. All you had to do was add water to the supplied powder, something of an easy and quick miracle in those days. But by the 1950s, the mixture was not selling, and so Betty turned to psychoanalysis and Bernays, who concluded that although the American housewife liked the easy convenience of the cake mix, she felt guilty at deceiving her family into believing she had worked hard making the cake. Bernays' solution was to change the recipe by adding an egg to the mix for the protein goodness and to assuage her guilt. And this worked so well, add an egg became a catchphrase. He also promoted the idea of women smoking in the street, a definite no-no for ladies in the 1930s. He achieved this by proposing cigarettes were a torch of freedom for women. When I heard about this, I had to smile. How clever to get into women's minds like that, with so much insight and creativity. Ultimately, to dupe people who then, if they find out, cannot fail to feel not very intelligent, predictable, and vulnerable to being played. And no one likes to be played like a fool. In the 1950s, Bernays was hired to do some PR by the United Fruit Company, who ran and owned vast banana plantations in South America. They were unhappy with the Guatemalan government, who wished to bring in land reform and to improve the working conditions for people involved in banana production. To address this, Bernays conjured spin about a banana republic by producing fake propaganda leaflets portraying the Guatemalan government as corrupt and a communist threat to America. This initiated a CIA-orchestrated overthrow of the democratically elected Guatemalan government in 1954, after American fighter jets fired on their capital. Some years ago, I saw a documentary about how this was achieved, and I have to say, I found Bernays' machinations deeply shocking. Apparently, employees at the United Fruit Company hated Bernays. They were amazed at how much he charged for his services, but could not deny how effective they were. So effective, his methods were later used to promote America's war with Vietnam. At present, I would argue our collective whisper copy is leading us to a holiday paradise nightmare on a dead world. It may well be undermining our sense of being an individual who dares to say no to herd instincts. Today, we are already aware of being manipulated through social media advertising and propaganda. And we are opening our eyes to fake Emperor's New Clothes news. Because when we get what we want, we are finding that in turn throws up yet more dissatisfactions, unforeseen effects and consequences. So how do we protect ourselves against being misled into buying stuff that's no good for us or the planet? Perhaps a start would be to see our lack and failures as what makes us live fully, especially, say, if some doppelganger were to steal from us what we have, namely our near-perfect but increasingly damaged planet, and we end up on a dead version of our world. Just like in the song Hotel California, where you can check in, but you cannot check back out. If we want to change this dire outcome, we need to change the whisper copy driving the way we live. For that is an all-powerful legacy from Bernays, pervading every facet of our lives. Thanks for watching. Please post any thoughts below. See you next time, and bye for now.